evening and welcome to the Sunday Chronicle, coming to you from Stax 92.1. I'm your host, Giannis Jackson, as I present this community platform for the greater Lansing area, because community knows what community needs. Today we have two people joining us, two of my very good friends. We have Mr. Mike Marriott and Miss Sarah Sanders from Opportunity Arts Foundation. And we are going to be discussing the importance of art in the community and the importance of fine arts as far as developing community, not only developing community, but developing resilient communities, the importance of art and the impact it makes on young and old minds, the healing aids of it, and how the arts will help to develop people and help them reach their full potential. Now, that's just my opinion. So I'm going to hand it over to my guests, but first I'll tell you a little bit about my wonderful guests. And we'll start with Mike Marriott here. So I met Mike some time ago. It's funny. We actually met via email, right?
Yep.
And he started sending me some wonderful stories to publish about these wonderful artists. But let me tell you a little bit more about him. He is Mike Marriott, the arts promoter, and he's the owner of Opportunity Arts. They're putting the business back in show business, and I think that's awesome. When putting the business back in show business, I think of stuff like Barnum and Bailey's and stuff like that. So I think that's awesome. So their company works with professional and career artists to help them achieve the highest levels of success. Their promotion and business services for artists include contract negotiations, press and publicity, endorsement, sponsorship creation, social media engagement, budgeting, business consulting, event production, and artist affiliation. So that's a mouthful. And a little bit about Miss Sarah Sanders. She is the ace of spades, one of the four. What is it? The four
aces of visual arts.
The four aces of visual arts, and they're hot. They're hot. and so it's contrasted content, a mix of media artist that specializes in body paint. Awesome body paint. Like when I think of Sarah, I think of her being painted up with like an apple on her face or something and turning into some type of fruit or flower, because she's really, really talented drawing on people's skin. It's one of the most amazing things ever. But she's been featured on the cover of books, the Social Gap Experiment anthology, and in television shows, including The Power of Mid-Michigan Arts. Sarah, she holds 2 collegiate art degrees from Lansing Community College, and she's also been featured in the Chronicle. I'm not biased or anything. She's one of my faves. But like I said, I'm not biased or anything.
Not at all.
So I will give you the floor because I talk too much, and I will tell you that too.
Oh, don't we do too? So it's good.
Yeah. So this will be a great show then. Well, yeah. Or will we talk over each other?
It'll be a New York conversation where everyone talks at once, but you can hear everybody.
You can hear everybody. You're
exactly.
like, I'm still listening, but I'm yelling over you.
Yes, exactly.
See how it sounded? This is great. The dynamic of 3. This is what works. This is the noise that I need in the background.
There you are. Yes, it'll just be Sarah giggling the whole time.
Background noise. It's too quiet in here. So now I got the right people in here because it feels like a party. So that's
the general vibe we bring.
That's the best vibe.
Everything. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I hope I didn't just talk over you. Well, I did. It's the New York thing.
No, this is going to be fun. This is going to be one of those. Yeah.
Well,
we're just having a good time.
I am just so excited about all of the things that is happening with Opportunity Art. I started off from a distance, just with a glance, And I started to get all this awesome material into my inbox. And I'm like, what is this? I got to publish this. Nobody is publishing this wonderful stuff. This lady has an apple painted on her face. And so I said, I have to publish this and tag her. And then I just started seeing more and more like opera singers, Tulips in Bloom, Mila Lynn, and also Melina, Tori Gray. It's just a roster of them. There's Keontae Saxton.
Yep.
And this whole art scene is taking Lansing by storm.
Yeah, I was talking the other day with Hannah Versalati, who's our social media manager and the director of our new Chicago office that we just opened.
Yay!
And we were just talking about the fact that like this roster. I said if this was sports, they'd call it a super team. With the amount of talent, like you just said, the artists that you just said that are on our roster, like. It makes my job a lot easier to go out and promote them because they're doing these amazing things, and then my job is just basically to be the megaphone to turn it up on what they're doing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and they're awesome. And I've talked to a lot of them and, like, instantly connected with them. I mean, they're great. Yeah. We've done some projects together. I've worked with Mila and Tori on a food drive, food distribution, and Mila actually came out to the mental health fair and did a live painting for that event. And it was just a really great experience working with her. She's also been on the show. So she's just a really a sweet person and very talented. So, you know, I was honored to have her on here along with you two as well.
She's also in the Aces with Sarah. So she's the Ace of Diamonds.
They are bad. The 4 Aces are bad. I saw that picture. I said, oh, wait.
It was.
They were looking great.
And the thing about it is too is like we all like all the affiliates too. Like we're so everyone there. Like when I originally signed up, it was like I did not expect like all of the creative friendships I would create. I kind of just went in there and I was like, oh, this seems cool, and everybody is so inviting.
Yeah,
they're so nice. They're so talented. So fun to work with. Like it's amazing.
Well, and I'm going to brag on Sarah for a second because Sarah was actually the first person to ever come up like that. We didn't actually go like actively recruit. Like Sarah walked up to me at a MABA, Meridian Area Business Association meeting, and was like, "Hi, I'd like to find out more about Opportunity Arts. I'm an artist." And I was like, "Oh, are you?" And I always joke since that like she's my Tom Brady. Like I had no idea what had just walked up and started talking, like no clue. And then I'm like, "Oh, you do art?" And then she's like, "This is this castle I drew when I was 16 years old." And I'm like, I don't even understand what I'm looking at right now. She's like, "And I body paint and I do all this other stuff." And I was like, oh, okay. Well, welcome aboard. I was like, so we, right when the pandemic started, March 2020 is when Sarah, so 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Sarah joined as an affiliate, and then April is when Mila joined, and I said, that's the foundation for the team. You build around that, you know.
And it's crazy because that's right when the pandemic hit. So it was just like everyone was just like, you know, it was something. And it's so interesting thinking back then and how things have progressed because it has, like the art scene, like you'd said, it's just expanded so much.
It seems as though now there is a place for artists within Lansing. And I think at one time maybe the artists felt a little displaced because there really didn't seem like many outlets to express themselves, and it could be some because of COVID as well. A lot of things shut down and things are starting to open up. I just saw that MSU, they're doing like this chamber concert and all these different things, getting the shows going again. So that's refreshing to know that there is that space for artists. I mean, it's important that we keep that there. What do you think? What are some of the ways that we continue to have a space, and not only have a space for artists where they can grow and create, but to expand those spaces and help them progress?
Well, I think a big portion of that is actually having the people that are able to make a difference talk to the artist directly, because I know being able to talk to us about, studio spaces, because, we have to have spaces to work. We have to have the right consumers to purchase the things, and kind of giving the value of pushing forward what we're doing. Because ideally, the concept of it is we want to have enough time in the day to create, to make these expressions, and to help people move forward with their expressions too. And so it's kind of one of those things where if we're able to take that and we have the resources to be able to do that, and we're valued in that way, we'll have more of that time, and we're going to be able to do the bigger, better things for that. Definitely.
What would you say in the next 1 to 3 years you would like to see happen with the Lansing art scene?
Definitely, as mentioned, more of a value on the artists. I think that a lot of times, and I think it's not just necessarily Lansing. I think it's just, the art scene in general has always had this kind of idea. I know growing up for me, when I was in college, when I was going for art, because I have the 2 fine art degrees, it took me a minute to decide that, because at first I was thinking of more doing a more, I guess, generic degree, because I wanted to pursue art, but I had been told that if I did pursue a fine art, that the degree would be not useful. And so it's kind of one of those things where it was like I had to kind of push through that, and I was like, I want to put my time and money towards something that I'm interested in, something I want to pursue. And if I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't be here. And so it's kind of one of those things where I think making sure that the artists, and especially like kids growing up, like they know that it is a viable thing that you can do, and really pushing that, not only like telling the youth that, but making sure that everything is backed by that. And you're seeing that a lot more now. But I think that a lot of it too is like the financial aspect, and then the recognition. Us artists, we put a lot of expression and work into that. And it's definitely something to be known and be shown.
Yeah.
I think an industrial infrastructure is what I would like to see more over the next 3 years. By in that time frame, that the Performing Arts Center should be finished by 2024. So I think that's going to be important. But again, that investment in local industries, and like we have organizations like LEAP that highlight the tech industry and the different industries that we've had. And Michigan's always been famous for different industries and then pivoting. So from the very, very beginning, it went from furs to mining to lumber to automobiles to what's the 21st century industry going to look like? And for us, it's arts and entertainment. And that different approach, I think too, like with Sarah, Contrasted Content is a LLC. It's not a nonprofit. It's a for-profit LLC business. So I think that's the other thing too, is a lot of people realizing that a lot of the artists around here, like some of the artists that we've mentioned, like Tori and Mila and Sarah and others, they're all small business owners. And so when we talk about building up business and what do we do to build up businesses in downtown or in Rio Town or these different areas and these different communities, South Lansing, where are we viewing the artists as these businesses too, and helping them have that platform, because they're willing to be more, also they don't have a lot of brick and mortar, so they're willing to be mobile. So they'll go to other parts of the community that get ignored. They're literally standing there going, we'll go in. And so I think that's kind of important too, just that reimagining of it and how people view it.
Yeah.
So I'm throw a little curve at you.
Okay.
With arts, have you seen a decline in the arts in our school system, and has it made a difference in your experience with the behavior of our children?
Oh, Sarah has a really good story about the arts being ignored in the schools. Do you want to tell them about that? The thing that got funding cut?
Right. So, in the school that I grew up in, they had art club was organized and done by the school, and then of course with several school systems, it's all over the place. One of the first things to go in funding cutting is arts, definitely, for sure. And that happened when I had taken over in my high school. The art club had to be called the art organization, is what we came up with, because it became student ran. And that's when I had taken it over. And we were, we'd put on like the daddy-daughter dances and things, and we'd do all the like background scenes and painting everything. And that was one thing too, when I was like growing through those years, that kind of instilled that, it's not important kind of thing. And when you're seeing that, the school that's furthering you and kind of pushing you toward your future is taking away something that is so important to you. And again, I think it's just something that it's so universal, and that concept of the arts are kind of just, it's almost as if the arts they're so important that they're so prevalent. Art is everywhere. It's architecture, it's logos, it's what you're wearing, it's fashion, it's music. And I think it's to the point where it's so prevalent we forget it.
Yeah, I think we sometimes need to reaffirm or we need to redefine what art is, let people know, well, this is art and this is art and this is what is important and this is how it makes you feel. So if we just strip music for one day and see how that works.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I would do.
Right. And I think that was something too that the pandemic showed everybody.
Exactly.
Is you couldn't go to events, you couldn't go out to concerts, you couldn't go you couldn't go to a gallery.
Right.
And you suddenly realized how important it was, because everything just, like I always tell people, try to get through a day without experiencing art.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
And so that's what people were doing. They were on their phones and they were watching the live things that were going on. And a lot of these artists and people were doing these, live events and things because like you couldn't go physically and do that. And I think too, with that being said, like that shows the endurance of the artists, etc. as well, because they are so motivated to keep it going through something like that. And I think that kind of made people realize that value, not being able to experience that, etc.
Right.
Absolutely.
No, it was one of those. It was funny too, because like we had started talking about it. Like that's kind of, we'd started like videoing back and forth to each other and talking about the different stuff. And I remember you were like, oh, there's no galleries, there's this, that. And I'm joking with you. I'm like, no, you're Bob Ross now. Like, you have to be captivating on the screen. And you're like, actually, no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So what happens as we strip the arts out of our school systems, out of our communities? What happens to us?
It's dull.
It gets dull.
It's dull.
But I think the reason that they scrap it, and that's, I'm going to be a little hard on the artists right now. Like, we have to establish value. We're the only industry that, like, so, a great Michigan artist once said, RESPECT, find out what it means to me. Like, let's be honest, all those Motown artists are Michigan artists.
Yeah.
To me, what we're seeing now is the evolution of a state that brought us Motown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is what that looks like. And the idea, like, I mean, you talk to a Michigander and say, imagine a world without Motown.
Yeah.
They're like, that's not, don't ever say that again. Like,
Right.
there's, like, we're fighting now. Like,
Yeah.
because it was so important, not just to Michigan, not just to Detroit, but to the world.
Yeah.
From a musical movement.
Yes.
And so I think that's the thing too. When I meet a lot of the artists that we have here in Lansing and are expanding out throughout the region, like, you see that hunger and you see that passion for it. And I think that's the thing where, and the mobility. Like, a lot of times now with, like, Sarah, we've looked at doing stuff in different markets like Detroit, and, we just expanded our business into Chicago because these are markets that these artists can go to, that they can generate more revenue for their work. They can do those things. And Keontae, who you had mentioned earlier, we were chatting back and forth with him, and we had talked about, it's not being a Lansing artist and implying that you're only doing art in Lansing, but being an artist from Lansing. So Morgan Madden, who Sarah and Morgan are working together on a festival that's going to be June 11th. Shameless plug. But they, Morgan had said that. He goes, you look at somebody like Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson you associate with Lansing and you associate with the region, but he's gone out and he's done all these things all over the world now. And so he goes, we want to, and that was something that they as the roster were talking together, a lot of times they'll have their own meetings without me. They just and it was we want to be the arts version of Magic Johnson, where we go out and we do these things and people recognize that and appreciate Lansing for what it is.
And I want to do a quick check-in for my guest here. You're listening to the Sunday Chronicle. I'm your host, Giannis Jackson, and we are coming to you from Stax 92.1. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today we are talking about the importance of arts in the community and the importance of art when developing resilient communities. I feel like a world without art is a flat world, right? And so
An
here
earth without art. Oh, sorry. An earth without art is eh.
Yeah, and that's a good one too. Yeah, I like that.
Yep.
Just without art, I'm not feeling that. So I have my guest here today, Mr. Mike Marriott and Miss Sarah Sanders, and they are two art connoisseurs, would it be aficionados? I don't know if that's
local artistic influencers.
Okay, that is nice. I like that one. We're gonna go with that.
I didn't have that loaded up, ready to go or
local
anything.
artistic influencers. I would like to use part of that for one of my titles. So
Sounds good to me.
Yes.
Well, and can I like shout out you right now, like real quick, like thank you for.
I always like shout outs.
All right, no,
Shout outs, especially on my own show.
Well, and I appreciate like having us on here on the radio show and covering these artists in the Chronicle News. Like, that's the thing is, like, you know, if you want to, like, anyone listening, if you want to know what's happening artistically in this city, read the Chronicle News.
Yes.
Because that's where you're gonna hear it. Like, this is not a paid endorsement.
They can't see me. I'm celebrating in the background.
Well, and it's true. I mean,
Yes.
you look at a lot of the major art things that have happened over the last 2 years. It's been in the Chronicle.
Yeah.
Carnival of the Creatives, the first year that we did that. Inktober, Windows to Eden,
Tulips and Bloom.
Tulips and Bloom. All, I mean, so many different things that we've connected on and that we've told you about from, I mean, that's what we do is publicity for artists.
Yeah.
But, you know, you throw it out there and you throw it to different, news organizations and things like that. And Chronicle has picked up and run with it and shared those stories. And it's important because this is where you're going to read about what's actually happening in the arts.
Yeah, I think the important thing is, and you'll hear me say this a lot, community knows what community needs. And so there's not a bunch of people just kind of sitting up making programming. And, we're talking here today and we're talking about the things that we like and the things that drive us. And this is what this show is for. So, some of the people in the community and some of our leadership can maybe listen to some of these ideas and to some of the community members to see really what's going on and have a clearer picture of the community, because we're lacking in areas that many don't know, and art is one of them. And so that's why it was so important to me to bring you on as guest, and I acknowledge many things as art forms. I acknowledge dance and painting, poetry.
Yes.
There's also let's see what else.
Fire spinning.
Shout
out to Flames and Dames.
Yeah, the stuff on Cirque du Soleil, like with the little things, and they twist around that big circle thing.
Yes.
Yep,
That's
aerial
art.
artists.
Yes.
What is it called?
Aerial arts.
Aerial art. I think that's awesome. Just going on and on and on, singing, dancing.
Can I pick on something that you said about community knows what community needs?
Yes.
And I love that. And that's kind of the thing too when we were talking about the ACEs earlier with, Mila, Sarah, Kylie, and Autumn. You have a Mason High School grad, a Sexton High School grad, an Eastern High School grad, and an Everett High School grad in that group. They are from the community. They've grown up in like when the arts were cut. Like when Sarah took over that organization, and part of what she does now is she knows what she came up through that system and knows what she needs and knows what those artists need. And I think it's important too, like if you're a specialist in an area, so like hearing when you hear Sarah talk about it, or you hear Mila talk about it, or something like that, and they say the community needs this, the community, this is what these are artists from your community. These are literally on the ground, knowing exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And then the outreach. I'm going to shout out you guys too. The outreach that you guys do, and who you connect with, like Mila's book drive, and what you did with Horrors of Love, and those are things where they're starting to create stuff not just for certain levels of the community, but all kinds of levels of the community, and hearing what that feedback is, and then going, okay, this is what you need, bang. So
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, and the thing about art too is it's so important for everybody, because it's a form of communicating on a different level. It's not just talk. It's feeling.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that so many people lack now, is that communication of actual feeling and individualization, but together. You know?
It's very important, because I'm thinking about things such as music therapy.
Yeah.
And I don't have like a exclusive music therapist or anything, but I use certain types of music as my therapy. For me to write, to sing, to dance, and do those things are very they're very soothing for me.
Yeah.
That's my happy place, so to speak. And so I just think about, if I didn't have those things, if I didn't have an instrument, if I didn't have the ability to sing or dance, and what would life be like for me? Because I've done these things all my life, and so I think about that, and it just seems that in order for us to have balance as human beings, I'm going to speak to my own experience, but the balance in my life comes from having that art along with that technical component.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
And, some people say, well, you can only be one or the other. I think for me, they go together.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing too is, there's a lot of people who are very outgoing, and they know exactly what they need to say, and they can express these things with it. But there's people who can't. Like, there's times for me specifically where I just, my head gets so entwined in thought, and I just kind of shut down, and it's one of those things where without art and being able to have, it's like a meditative state almost that you get into. It shuts it all off, and you're able to just sit with yourself and relax. And that to me is something that's very hard for me to do. For other people, it could be easier. It's easier to be outgoing and express these things, but I know that for me personally, art's been one of those things that's been able to have me do that, and that's why it's important, because it kind of gives people that voice that may feel that they don't have it.
Well, once again, I would like to thank our guests for being here with us today, Mike Marriott and Sarah Sanders. And Mike, if somebody wants to find you or Sarah, I was wondering if you could both give your contact information so people could reach out to you for your services and get a hold of you.
Sarah, go ahead and go first.
Okay, perfect. So you can find me at www.contrastedcontent.com. That's www.contrastedcontent.com. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, etc.
And Opportunity Arts, you can find us at www.opportunityarts.org. And then if you go to our affiliates page, you can see all the artists that we work with. If you'd like to book any of those artists or commission any of those artists or do a business partnership with them, I know Sarah has a thing called Embody Your Business, where she will paint an entrepreneur in the style of their business. So, yeah, those are, yep. So that's how you find us. And then your world gets a whole lot bigger and a whole lot more entertaining.
Well, thank you for being here today. I enjoyed this, and I'm glad that we could talk about this, the arts that surround us, and ultimately help fulfill us.
Thank you for having us on.
Thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And once again, I'm reminding you that you are listening to the Sunday Chronicle on Stax 92.1. I'm your host, Giannis Jackson, bringing you the platform for the community. Because community knows what community needs. Join us next week again as we plug you right into the heart of the community. Thank you for listening, and make it a great day.